In today's lesson, we'll be learning about the method of elimination. In our first example, we want to translate each sentence into an algebraic equation. Here's our scenario. A small store sells used CDs and DVDs. The CDs sell for $9 each. The DVDs sell for $11 each. Cody is working part-time and sells a total of $204 worth of CDs and DVDs during his shift. He knows that 20 items were sold. He needs to tell the store owner how many of each type were sold. How many CDs did Cody sell? How many DVDs did Cody sell? Since we're trying to figure out how many CDs and DVDs that Cody sold, let's represent both of those with a variable. I'm going to say, let's see, represent the number of CDs sold. I'm going to write the same thing for the number of DVDs. Let D represent the number of DVDs sold. Let's analyze these sentences one by one. $9 each represents a rate, $9 per CD. A rate is multiplication. DVDs sell for $11 each. Again, that is also going to be multiplication. Altogether, he sells a total of $204. Total represents sum, and sum is addition, and 204 is just the same. We also know that 20 items were sold altogether. So that again would be sum or addition, and 20 stays the same. We need to figure out how many CDs and DVDs that he sold. So I'm going to represent that with a variable of C, and I'm going to represent this with a variable of D. Our first equation is going to look something like this. Each CD is $9, so it's the price multiplied by the number of CDs. And DVDs are $11 each, so it's $11 multiplied by the number of DVDs sold. So it's 11 times D. And the total is $204. The second equation is going to look like this. The number of CDs and DVDs sold adds up to 20. Therefore, C plus D is equal to 20. Once we have these two equations, we need to arrange them so that like terms are aligned. As you can see, like terms are already aligned for us. C and 9C are like terms, positive D and positive 11D are like terms, and 20 and 204 are also like terms. Next, we're going to choose a variable to eliminate. I'm going to arbitrarily choose to eliminate variable of C. Since we decided that we wanted to eliminate the variable of C, we need to make sure that they have the same coefficient or opposite coefficient. The coefficient of this term is 1, and the coefficient of this term is 9. Clearly, they are not the same or opposite. Over on the side, you need to decide what is the lowest common multiple of 1 and 9. And that's pretty simple. The lowest common multiple is 9. Which means I'm going to multiply this equation by 9, and this equation is going to stay exactly the same. Therefore, if I multiply everything in the red equation by 9, that becomes 9C, that becomes 9D, and that becomes 180. The blue equation stays exactly the same. And as you can see, the coefficient of C is the same, which is exactly what we want. As a note to myself, I'm going to call this equation 1, and I've already multiplied this by 9, and that is equation 2. Equation 1, which was multiplied by 9, is 9C plus 9D, which is equal to 180. Meanwhile, the second equation hasn't been changed. It stays exactly the same. At this point, you need to decide if you're going to add these two equations or subtract these two equations. I'm going to decide to subtract these two equations. If you add these two equations, you will not eliminate the variable of c. Therefore, 9c subtract 9c cancels out. 9d subtract 11d is 2d, and 180 subtract 204 is 24. Now that we have 2d is equal to 24, we can easily solve for d. d is stuck with a multiply by 2. To get rid of it, we need to divide both sides by 2. That cancels out, so d is equal to 12. We need to decide if we're going to sub d is equal to 12 into equation 1 or equation 2. I'm going to sub d is equal to 12 into equation 1, just because it's a little bit easier to work with. Equation 1 is c plus d is equal to 20. Next, I'm going to replace the d with 12 in brackets. Remember, I want to isolate c, but c is stuck with a plus 12. To get rid of it, you need to do the opposite operation to both sides of the equation. So I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides of the equation. Those cancel out, and 20 subtract 12 is 8. We know the number of CDs and DVDs sold, but we need to check to see if these answers are correct. Therefore, we're going to have to do a left side equals right side check on both equations. So I'm going to say sub d is equal to 12 and c is equal to 8 into equation 1. Equation 1 is c plus d is equal to 12. I'm going to put 8 in brackets and 12 in brackets. Everything else stays the same. And as you can see, 8 plus 12 is 20. 20 is equal to 20. Therefore, the left side is equal to the right side. I'm going to do the exact same thing for the second equation. I'm going to say sub d is equal to 12 and c is equal to 8 into equation 2. Equation 2 is 9c plus 11d is equal to 204. So instead of writing the c, I'm going to write 8 in brackets. And instead of writing the d, I'm going to write 12 in brackets. Everything else stays the same. 9 times 8 is 72. 11 times 12 is 132. When you add those up together, you get 204, which is equal to 204. Therefore, the left side also equals the right side. Finally, we need a concluding sentence. So, since left side was equal to right side for equation 1 and equation 2, therefore, Cody sold 8 CDs and 12 DVDs.